Hello, everyone. My name is Bruno, and I am a student from the University of Pará. And today I will be talking a bit about cloud computing, more specifically, type of cloud, which is the hybrid cloud. And we will be discussing the motivations and future tendencies for this implementation of clouding. So let's start. Uh, Before anything else, I would like to make some introduction to what we're going to discuss. And like I will like to talk about why this is important in the first place. So, how is cloud computing important? Well, the relevance of cloud computing has increased significantly in the past years. So, we didn't know too much about cloud computing like 1 decade ago, and now it's attendance. Many different tech companies are investing heavily in cloud computing. So we have companies such as Google and Microsoft building giant data centers and providing specific services all related to cloud, and they're not only limited to storage, but we have many different services. For example, machine learning services, services involving uh, um, processing power in general, and also pricing is decreasing significantly as well, because uh, cloud services would used to be a lot more expensive than they are today, and because they are getting so cheaper, more and more people are using this kind of services. So what we are going to discuss actually have some notable relevance. So, and finally, here we have the topics for this presentation, and basically we have those four topics, and we will also have a conclusion in the end, which is not here. So before we dive too deep, I would like to talk about different types of cloud. So we have the traditional types, which can be here, which are public and private clouds. So these two different paradigms have its advantages and its disadvantages. So, for example, let's take public clouds. They are they have great scalability, which means we can expand and shrink the resources that we need for our implementation, and we don't really have to spend money using uh, we don't really have to spend money in our own infrastructure for that, because we can pay for a third party company, for example Amazon, and we can pay for more power or storage depending on our need. And unfortunately it has some disadvantages as well, because uh, we don't really know what Amazon or Google are doing with our data. We just know that it's stored in some of their services, but who is actually managing that data? And what if this data is actually sensitive? What if this data consists of the personal information of our clients? Do we really want to share this with other people? I don't think so. And that's why public clouds are not always a good idea. And we also have private clouds, which have the advantage of being kind of transparent compared to public clouds, because we're doing our own on-premise cloud implementation. So we have more control over our data. And when properly managed, it might be relatively safer than public clouds. Well, we all know that data centers are not so safe. They are constantly attacked by different kinds of attack, ransomwares, DDoS attacks. Many uh, many attacks are made, and some of them are actually fatal. For example, we can use the an, an attack that happened with Google data centers in 2006, more specifically in their SMTP server, which deleted many uh, emails from Gmail. Emails are not actually that important, but it could have been some more sensitive data, and we don't really want to lose this. So we have this advantage of having a more secure implementation. And as disadvantages, I would like to point that they are expensive. They're expensive because not only we are paying for the hardware, but we are paying for the people who are managing our infrastructure, and we are also paying for natural resources, for example, energy. So they might be relatively costly, so it's a disadvantage. And they have poor scalability because if we want to more resources for our cloud, we have to pay for them. We have to buy more um, hard drivers. We have to pay for more powerful processors. So they are poor in scalability. And unlike a traditional cloud, as mentioned before, we have this hybrid kind of approach, which combines the both previous clouds. So we can take the disadvantages of one specific kind of cloud, and we can compensate these disadvantages by using other type of cloud. So we take the better from both worlds. And with this new paradigm for clouding, we have also new challenges. And that's what we are going to discuss through this paper. Are actually the challenges, uh, do they actually overcome the advantages of using a hybrid cloud, or we have so many benefits that the challenges are actually irrelevant? So this is what we're going to discuss. And now Gabriel will uh, make the presentation, and he will discuss a bit more about the why hybrid clouds are actually a good solution. So Gabriel, please.
Guys, my name is Gabriel Fernandes, and now I'll talk about why hybrid clouds are a good solution. Uh, First, overall, the public clouds have increased in both size, scale, and services in the last decades due to its simplicity and practicality they provide. Also, the technologies required for the service suffer considerable lower in the prices. Nevertheless, there are downsides as well. For example, public cloud doesn't allow the user to know where his information is kept or who has access to it. Thus, since storage devices got more accessible, a new possibility arose. Companies would companies would build their own private clouds and also keep a public cloud. When a company benefits from both public and private clouds, it is called a hybrid cloud. Obviously, there are several upsides and downsides. In this section, we will evaluate the pros and cons of maintaining both public and private clouds, and why hybrid clouds are a good solution in general. The first topic is about the improved security. A properly implemented private cloud can be safer than public cloud, thus better for saving sensitive data, since it can be accessed via internet or private links rather than open internet. The second one is flexibility. Not all public clouds are prepared to receive all kinds of projects, so it may require some adaptations for its deployment, depending on the project. Which won't happen at a private cloud since it is made personally for made it was made uh, to fit any kind of project that it was meant for. The maintenance costs. Public cloud fees can be cheaper compared to a local cloud infrastructure. Also, companies doesn't need to concern about maintenance of the equipment and the software required to work. So it is easier to use. And the practicality. Implementing a private cloud from scratch is not a simple task. So since the sensitive data are stored in a local cloud, it is viable to utilize a public cloud for the less important data that also need to be stored or processed. Okay. In general, both clouds share the same risks. The majority of the cloud breaches are derived from human errors. Therefore, all kinds of caution should be taken when working with cloud computing. As for 2020, nearly 100% of the companies suffered at least one data breach. Okay. Uh, Now the next topic, I talk about a little about challenges involving hybrid clouds. The first topic it is about the knowledge about hybrid cloud strategy. Building a hybrid cloud strategy is not a trivial task. Many things should be considered before implementation. Since hybrid cloud environments involves both public and private clouds, it can be challenging to determine which applications are the best suited for each cloud. Another important consideration is to measure the cloud's costs, since integrating public and private clouds operations can possibly involve additional costs for software licenses and virtual machines. Overall, the integration must be properly architected in order to amplify both performances and cost efficiency. Uh, Now the hybrid cloud strategy costs. Although hybrid clouds are relatively cheaper than exclusive private implementations, they are still expensive compared to public clouds. Therefore, they might not be suitable for all kinds of business, and one should evaluate the benefits to incorporate this approach instead of public one. Besides, hybrid clouds are costly during the migration process. That means a company must be willing to spend a certain amount at the beginning in order to complete the transition. And lastly, there are some management problems. For using 100% of the hybrid cloud offer, it is very necessary to have a certain expertise and skills to management clouds. That using hybrid cloud strategy. Without this, the user and the experience with the approach don't be pleasant, and certainly problems will come up with more frequency. An example of this situation it concerns the scale of complications on what on what have applications which need more power computing. But behind the applications was a firewall with solid premises. It is sure that scaling will be complicated. And yeah, now my teammate will continue with my teammate Cláudio will continue with the topic 5. Bye.
Hi guys, with this introduction about hybrid clouds and the challenges involved this this approach, it's necessary talking about the future tendencies in cloud computing. So, being cloud computing the most important concepts of IT in this present time, it's natural that technology possess a bit of speculation about your next step, next tendencies. Obviously, for a technology which have more and more enterprises, users, professionals, anyway, peoples, the trends associated with yourself become more audacious and thereby most integrated with our society. Besides the new tendencies of cloud computing, show for us the path the technology is following. So, Bruno, pass. And the future tendency we'll show for you is about a multi-cloud strategy. In this case, it's known that enterprises use every day a lot of different data, each one specific applications. In this proposition, to have only one type of cloud is not a good perspective, because each cloud specializes, improves your services, taking into account the determined parameters for a type, in this case, for a type of data. So this perspective to use multiple clouds for multiple data applications enables have one ideal cloud solution for each application. How you can see in this picture, most most approach uses most approaches used by enterprises is multi-cloud. And for the next, caramba, corta. Isso não vai pro isso não vai pra versão final. Bora voltar lá. Tá, bora lá. Hi guys. With this introduction about hybrid cloud and the challenges involved with this approach, it's necessary talking about the future tendencies in cloud computing. In this case, being cloud computing the most important concepts of IT in this present time, it's natural that technology possesses a bit of speculation about your next step, next tendencies. Obviously, for technology which have more and more enterprises, users, professionals, and peoples, the trends associated with yourself become more audacious and thereby more integrated with our society. Besides, the new tendencies of cloud computing show for us the path the technology is following. So, for the first tendency we show you, Bruno, pass. It's about a multi-cloud strategy. It's known that enterprises use every day a lot of different data, which one for specific applications. In this proposition, to have only one type of cloud is not a good perspective, because each cloud specializes in prove yourself to taking into account the determined parameter for a type of data. So this perspective to use multiple clouds for multiple data applications and even have one data cloud solution for each applications. In this picture, show for us statistics about adoption of cloud computer strategies. So we can see the most part of enterprises use a multi-cloud. In this way, in 2021, the specialized statistics display a significant number of enterprises that adopt this approach. This means naturally that each strategy is productive and is adopted for another enterprise from now. It's not a remote possibility, and we have to be imminent reality. The research also showed the tiny frequency of enterprises that use approach of single cloud, like private and public. And and in this case, an indicative for a strategy, it's not a good enough for new expectations for this enterprise that comes up in nowadays. The sector future tendencies, Bruno, it's about greater investments. And you can see in this picture in the same research is displayed statistics about a newer public spent with cloud computing, as seen below. Bruno, pass. For the three tendencies about cloud computing, it's information about a large use of top clouds enterprises. It's in this case, it's not a new news, but according to the same research, the increase spent in public top clouds is an indicative of enterprise footprint. That it is ratification of the mentality is changed by the enterprises, by the companies. For the last, with we have the great confidence with cloud services. With this metric, it's possible conclude there is a significant increase in relative confidence in the relation between general companies and your cloud services users. It is by itself a great indicative that enterprises trust you important data with your respective cloud services. What is more, it also means that the rise of research and deployment of new approaches cloud, using cloud computing to enable using its data for a variety of applications and keep that data secure. So, Bruno?
So throughout this paper, we actually show you many different concepts. We show how hybrid clouds are actually a good solution, not always. And we also went through different challenges related to hybrid clouds, especially because we are actually approaching a new subject. And we also saw many future tendencies related to cloud computing and how hybrid cloud is not the future despite being such a good solution. So we saw that clouding is actually uh, being so diverse that we, we will go through to a point where the difference between each type of cloud won't be so relevant because we will have many different types of clouding. We will not only have hybrid clouds, but we will have a multi-cloud context because the interactions between clouds will not be limited to private and public, but we will also have public and private. So many different types of cloud will exist, and that's what we believe to the future of cloud and computer. And that's all, folks. Thank you for uh, watching our presentation, and see you then